Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Krysten Hansyn and this is Goddess Imagine, a transformational yoga and modern metaphysical studio. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with a brand new tarot reading that's called Breaking the Shell, Tarot to Reclaim Your Authentic Self. I've also created a yoga class with the exact same title that I've already loaded up into the channel. So if you're a yogi, I invite you to do that class first and then come back to the reading, because the reading contains important information and inspiration that will help to support you after that class. However, it's not absolutely necessary. If you're someone that doesn't do yoga, or maybe if you don't have the time, that's perfectly fine. This reading still has the powerful potential to help you shed that outer shell and reclaim your authentic self. I created this reading specifically for individuals who have been living from a false sense of themselves, who are ready to shed that outer shell, to come back to the woman that they were originally created to be and move forward in all the ways that they desire. When we've been inundated with a tremendous amount of trauma and drama, we create and live from an alternate persona. It's not who we truly are at a core level. And this is one of the main reasons why we have all of the problems that we do and struggle with things like addiction, alcoholism, dysfunctional relationships, or financial devastation, whatever it is for you, right? We're not living and operating from a healthy and well-balanced mindset. We're living life from a twisted and distorted viewpoint. It's not real. I created Goddess Imagine with the specific intent of teaching women how to release all of their trauma and drama that's been wedged deep within their mind, body, and spirit, so they can up-level and transform into the women that they were created to be, and then manifest the luxury lifestyle that they've always imagined. Each and every one of us have come into this life with a specific gift, passion, purpose, and plan. But for some of us, life went sideways the moment that we came out of the badge, and we've been desperately trying to get back to some sense of normalcy ever since. We've never had the opportunity to be our authentic self and live the type of life that we had planned. In keeping with our theme 2026, the year of the dynamic do-over, we're doing a head-to-toe makeover, which includes coming back to our true sense of self. Because there's no way that we can reach the level of happiness and success that we desire and make all of our dreams come true if we're living life as individuals that we were never intended to be. This tarot reading isn't about helping you become someone new. It's about removing everything that you are not. And we kickstart that healing process by breaking through that tough outer exterior that we've surrounded ourselves with to discover what lies beneath. This requires honesty, it requires responsibility, but most importantly, it requires courage, okay? This reading is your sacred space to face your safe fully. We release what is false, we come back to what is true, and then together we move forward to become the highest version of ourselves and manifest the lifestyle that we've always imagined. I have just a little note here that I'd like to share with you, something that I added. I'm just going to read it to you here. And it says, this reading is an invitation to tell yourself the truth. At some point, you created a version of yourself to survive through the pain, the dysfunction, the fear, and again, whatever it was for you. That version of you served a purpose, but it's not your truth. And now you're being called to shed that false persona. Not all at once, not perfectly, but authentically. These cards will show you where you've been operating from a false identity, what is ready to break, and who you are becoming as you return to yourself. This is where our true power lies, okay? And even though we can't receive the exact answers that we seek because this is a group reading environment, okay? It's still a powerful experience because we're able to take that information from an upper perspective and then open up our own internal awareness to see where that truth lies within us as individuals, okay? And we're able to apply that information in all the ways that are pertinent to us. It opens up our mind, body, and spirit to begin thinking about this situation and where in our life are we perhaps acting as a false sense of ourself, right? Just something to think about. And before we begin, I like to always take a moment to ground myself before I start the reading. And if you're able, I invite you to join me because it helps you to ground yourself and to help focus for this experience and to be present for this reading and to really listen to those key clues to see what pertains to you specifically. And we can do this right where you're at. We just sit up nice and tall in our seat. It's just a very simple process. And if you're able to close your eyes down, I invite you to do so. But if you're driving or doing something else, that's okay. You can keep them open. Just tune into the sound of my voice. And maybe we begin by taking a deep breath in through our nose, exhaling through the mouth. As we ground, center, and focus our mind, body, and spirit. We can invite our higher power and spiritual team to join us in this reading today. We connect to our inner goddess and embrace our divine feminine energy. And we can also set a personal intention, something that we'd like to uniquely receive from this experience today. And we can take a moment to do that. When we're finished, we inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Beautiful. Open up our eyes, and here we are. Thank you. And I'll shuffle the cards a little bit here before we start. And I invite you to think about genuinely, is there anywhere in your life that you feel you're living from a false sense of yourself? Do you ever feel like you're someone different or that you're stepping into a role or coming at life from a different perspective? And if you're someone that struggles with a lot of trauma and drama, it's not something that we may immediately recognize. And that's why as a group reading, this is still powerful because it does open us up to thinking about those parts of ourselves. Awesome. One more time. Beautiful. Let's begin. Get ourselves situated here. We start this reading with card number 1, In the Moment. Card number 1 reveals valuable insight into how you may be thinking, feeling, coping, or struggling in your day-to-day life. It's like we're taking a virtual snapshot into your current existence. And this card is helpful because it helps you to understand yourself more clearly, because when we're living from a false sense of self, we don't really know who we are anymore or the world around us that we've created. And this question can also kickstart the healing process by allowing you to openly and honestly witness yourself from a safe vantage point, all right? There's no judgment here, just the willingness to be vulnerable in order to start softening this tough outer shell. So for card number 1, we have the Ace of Cups. This is my most favorite card in the tarot. It just has the most beautiful color of blue, and it just really opens up my intuition and gives me a super warm feeling. When we look at the cups, cups represent spirituality, love, relationships, and our emotions, okay? And when we see the ace, ace represents a beginning, new beginnings, all right? So when we look at where we're at in this moment, you are someone who feels like you genuinely have to start things over and over again. You feel as if what you're doing isn't good enough, what you're saying isn't correct, the things that you're doing aren't adequate, and that you have to continuously start over. You're like in this perpetual circle. You start and you start and start and restart, and you're looking for this particular feeling within you that says, okay, this is perfect now, and now I'm able to go forward, okay? And when we see the cups and we're wondering, how does that play, is because there's such a sensuous such an innocence about you in this. And you're not coming at it from such a radical point of view. You just genuinely feel that you're not good enough and that you have to do things over and over again until they feel right. When you're on the job, you feel that your projects aren't good enough. In relationships, you feel like you're not a good enough partner. When you're speaking to people, maybe you're not clearly, whatever it is. You're just someone that feels like you have to start and restart things over because they're not good enough. And by doing them over and over again, somehow or another, it's going to become perfect, and then you can move on. Next, we come to card number 2, which is the shell that we built. This question asks us, where in our life do we feel like we're performing instead of being? Where in our life do we feel like we're acting or stepping into a role instead of being our authentic self? What feels forced, heavy, or disconnected? Where in our life do we feel like we're fake or disingenuous or like we're hiding from something, all right? And it's really important to identify these key behaviors that aren't necessarily yours so we can recognize those in our day-to-day life. And this awareness is powerful because it allows us to pull back on that falseness and begin to implement aspects of our authentic selves as we feel comfortable to do so. So with card number 2, the shell that we built is our strength card. And when we see the strength card here in the major arcana, we see this beautiful woman and this lion who is absolutely enamored with her, okay? She has the profound strength to tame even the wildest of beasts. He's drooling, he's in love, he's submissive, and she's simply stroking his mane, and he is in love with her, okay? So this tells me that you've had to build this outer shell of strength around you and act as if everything is okay, I'm doing just fine, my job is great, my relationship is great, everything is fine, because we have that innocence within us that we're afraid if we're somehow not strong enough, okay, that people are going to judge us, that there's something wrong with us, again, that we're not good enough. So we build this tough outer exterior. I mean, it is like a shell, but it even widens a little bit more, right? Like it radiates from out of us, that we can't let people know that we're struggling. We can't let people know that we need help. We have to keep looking things up or doing these things over because we don't want to let people know that somehow we're perceived as weak or inadequate or somehow not good enough. Next, we come to card number 3. Why was this shell necessary? Why did we have to create this? This card reveals possible scenarios or incidents that may have triggered and led to you creating this false identity. And maybe one single incident or maybe years of trauma and drama that have built up over time. Some questions to ask ourselves are, what are we trying to protect? What are we trying to avoid or control? How did this tough outer shell serve you? In our minds, we build this tough outer exterior for when we feel afraid or threatened, but unfortunately, it can eventually become our reality. But being able to identify a potential trigger or where this came from helps us to understand ourselves more clearly and why we're doing the things that we're doing, right? Once we identify that, we can begin to stop that behavior. So card number 3, why was this shell necessary? With the Queen of Pentacles. Beautiful card. So the Queen is the higher version of ourselves, right? She's the highest level of attainment in that feminine energy. And we have the Pentacles, which represent stability, comfort, prosperity, abundance, or money in business, right? That financial stability that we all desire. So why was this shell necessary? This is something that we never experienced in our lives, but it's something that we always deeply wanted. We wanted to be successful. We wanted to have all of the beautiful things. We wanted to feel at peace. We wanted to feel at ease. We wanted to have that sense of security that if something did go wrong or if something did fall apart, that maybe we could finally breathe. Maybe we could finally step back and enjoy life for a moment. And I would imagine that for most of us, this originates somewhere in our youth under the age of 18, that perhaps we grew up in an environment, a dysfunctional household where our parents struggled with their own situations, and we had to learn to cope on our own, right? We had to learn to become really super strong at a young age so we could withstand the things in our home, and then that shell radiated and then carried out into the world with us, right? And we carried the weight of that shell, just trying to think that we have to achieve this level, that doing something over and over again is going to give us this highest attainment when we may already be there. We may already be in this place, but we're so stuck underneath the shell that we're still in the, perpetual thing of doing things over and over again. We haven't slowed down enough to realize that, hey, maybe I am okay. Maybe everything is all right. Card number 4 is facing my fear. This question asks, what am I afraid of happening if I become my authentic self? Card number 4 reveals hidden fears that lie within us that keep us falsely protected under this imaginary shell. Most often, the conscious mind creates fear as an intimidation technique to keep us safe and to keep us small. But by exposing the fear and the lies behind the fear, that's what gives us the power to crack that outer shell, let the pieces fall to the ground, and then we can finally relax. So card number 4, facing our fear, is we have the 6 of Swords, okay? Somewhere in there is a fear of abandonment. When we have the swords, yes, it represents our intellect, our intuition, our intelligence, along with our communication, but it can also come into who we are at a core level. Like my particular tarot card is the Queen of Swords. It's just exactly who I am. And even though we see this person leaving peacefully, okay, they're wheeling away, they're leaving this situation calmly and quietly, but to me it represents abandonment. Somehow you feel that if you are not this strong, dynamic individual, that if you don't do everything perfect, that if you're not in the ideal relationship, and this kind of leads me to believe that this may have happened somewhere in your early life in relation to your parents, or maybe an early relationship where maybe you weren't absolutely perfect. Maybe you were your authentic self, and the person that you were around was just an asshole and said something to you that shattered you and said, oh my God, I can't be my authentic self again because this person's going to leave me. Maybe you struggled with abandonment issues as a child. Maybe one of your parents took off, no fault of your own, but maybe you feel like you did something wrong and that's why they left. So now I have to be super strong. I have to go through all these things and be this perfect person, because if I'm not, someone's going to leave me. And we get on that treadmill, okay, of doing these things over and over again until we truly don't know who we are. And if you see to the corner here, right, there's a little bit of rippled water. Although it may look like, you may fear that people are going to abandon you and walk away, but there's still some strife here, okay? Maybe the people that you fear are leaving aren't worth your attention or your time. Maybe the relationship that you're in, if you have to really put on that false sense of self, maybe it's not worth you. Maybe if it's your job or career or family or something, maybe that's a sign that there's a true problem there, and that abandonment isn't the issue. It's just coming back to your authentic self and recognizing this does not serve your highest good, and you are most definitely moving forward. Next, we have card number 5, breaking the shell. Card number 5 asks, what's ready to break open within us? Where do we feel this internal energy beginning to stir? Where do we feel discomfort? Where do we feel tension or resistance? All right. I always talk about, where do we feel this weight, that we're carrying this burden that's so heavy, that's so just absolutely overwhelming, that we're sick and tired of having to do it. And you may be noticing, however your outer shell is for you, you may be beginning to notice that you're getting aggravated with yourself. You're getting increasingly pissed off. You're increasingly agitated. You're beginning to lose what little bit is left of your good nature. And there's something, remember, well, if you're my age, the Incredible Hulk, right? He busts out of that person that he was, and he turns into this, the Incredible Hulk, right? Where are you ready to bust out of this outer shell that you've encased yourself with? It may not even be a case of the shell's going to break away. You're just going to rocket through it, and all the pieces are going to shatter to the ground, okay? Something else you may be asking, what truth have I been avoiding? What can I no longer ignore? This is your turning point. The moment this false self no longer fits, okay? We can no longer do it. The card is the 4 of Wands, all right? When we have the wands are about action, ability, doing the things that we love, our career, our position in life. And when we have a 4, 4 is about finding stability within that minor arcana, right? We see the 4 posts here. That's kind of symbolic of finding stability. You are looking for stability at the core level of your actual home life. You are so sick and tired of having to put on this false perception within your home life, within the area immediately around you, that you simply can no longer carry this weight. You're starting to lash out at people. You're not just agitated with yourself, you're agitated with the people in your life. You're agitated maybe with family members, maybe with your partner, maybe with your friends or people that are living in your home. You're so tired of carrying this burden of this strength. And I would also imagine that you are also someone in your house who does most of the chores, has most of the responsibility. Everything falls on you because we did this to ourselves. Listen, I am here, all right? I am all of the things that I read, and that's how I can connect to it so genuinely, because I have been here. And the 4 represents, at our most basic of living, we are tired of putting on this false perception. We're tired of carrying the weight. We're tired of this tough outer shell. We want to be able to breathe, to take a breath, to be able to sit back and to relax. God forbid if we ever had a moment to relax in our life. Your soul is calling for that at a very rudimentary level, at a very basis of your existence. And when we begin to feel, okay, that energy rising up within us, we just don't want to lash out. We want to step back. We want to breathe, think down deeply. How would our authentic self respond to this, right? Because we have to remember, we're the ones that created this outer shell. We have to be the ones, even though we're busting out of it, we're going to want to learn to do that with some grace as well. So we come into card number 6, which is your authentic self emerging. This question asks us, who is this woman that I was originally created to be? This card reveals our truth, not who we wish we were, but who we are at a core level. What's underneath everything? What does my true self feel like? Not think like, but truly feel like. What feels grounded, clear, and steady? What qualities feel natural, not forced? This awareness can act as our new inner directive. So when we feel stressed and we feel overwhelmed and we feel ourselves slipping back into our false self, we can quickly say, no, this is not who I am. This is who I am, and this is how I'm going to go forward. Card number 6, your authentic self emerging, is the 10 of Swords. Very interesting card for this to be at this particular place. So, the 10 of Swords represents that we are absolutely over everything that is happening, okay? The 10 is the highest attainment in the minor arcana, and with the swords, right? This isn't just necessarily about betrayal. It's about we are so done, like sticking the fork in it, that we're done, that we are so mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, all of the things exhausted by what's been going on in our life that we haven't even had an opportunity to think about who we are at a core level. This is going to require a deep sense of self-discovery. Maybe getting yourself into yoga, taking time to journal, taking time just to breathe, minute by minute, day by day, and slowly coming back to recognize who you are at the basis of yourself. And oftentimes, when we are in the most quietest of our minds, when we're alone, we can allow ourselves to maybe close our eyes down, take a few deep breaths, go deep within ourselves, connect to our own inner goddess, close our eyes down, and ask ourselves, ask Spirit, who am I at a core level? Help me to identify my true characteristics. I am so completely overwhelmed. I am so done by my entire life and everything I've gone through. I can't think for myself right now. I need some outside spiritual guidance. And this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. This is something that's going to take time, day by day, week by week, even month by month. Because when we think about it, we didn't get to this point overnight. We didn't build this booming wall of strength. We didn't get on this perpetual treadmill. We didn't start creating all these behaviors just in one day. This started when we were younger and just amplified until we're, depending upon your age, some of us are 40, 50, 60, maybe 70, 80 years old, right? We've been living from this false sense of ourself. And there's no better time than the present than to slow all of this roll and to get quiet, to get small, and to just get within yourself and to open up yourself, asking your inner goddess, your higher power, how can I connect to my authentic self? And then paying attention to those signals and those characteristics and those morals and those values that you feel deep within you. It's often something that you're passionate about. It's not what sometimes it can trigger anger, but it's not something that's false. It doesn't feel like a bad pair of shoes. It feels comfortable. Okay? And for some of us, we have to go back to that beginning and rediscover at a very core level who is the woman that we were originally created to be. Card number 7 is living the life. Card number 7 asks us, what is one way that we can begin to show up more authentically in our life? This card reveals valuable insight into one immediate action that we can take to let our guard down, to become the highest version of ourselves, and make all of our dreams come true. Where are we ready to soften, to take the edge off, and to stop being so hard and rigid? Where can we stop performing and just be? So we look at card number 7, living the life. Card number 7, living the life, is the 5 of Swords. Okay. When we see the 5 of Swords, we see a man standing here with the swords. He has all the swords within his realm. The other people are walking away from the battle, okay? So he not only won the fight, he also took all of their swords, okay? He dismantled the enemy. So this would tell me one of the ways that we can begin to show up as our authentic self, living the life, is stop feeling like we have to win every battle. We have to win every war. We have to do everything perfect. That when we begin to feel ourselves get upset and we feel that wheel begin to spin, that we're doing not something good enough, that we clap our hands and stop it and say, you know what? This is great just the way that it is. It's going out. If you know that you put the right work in, you've taken the right steps, you're not doing it half-assed, and you're doing everything in an appropriate way, send that bitch forward. Don't think twice about it. It's something that you're going to have to physically do. If you're in a relationship and people are gaslighting you or you're arguing, instead of feeling like you're either going to shrink away from the fight completely or you're going to get extra large, and not only are you going to win the fight, you're going to win the whole marriage and the whole relationship. Just ease off for a minute. Take a breath. We don't have to be so big. We don't have to be so harsh. Maybe sometimes just taking a step back, taking a breath, right? Remembering how overwhelmed that we are, and just breathe, have a moment to reconnect, go back down into that true aspect of ourselves, and then go from that level. All right. We don't have to win everything. We don't have to dismantle everything. We don't have to be the very best, the very strongest, the very bravest. Okay. We can be great. We can be awesome. We can be divine. We don't have to be perfect. No one is perfect. So one way is to begin to ease off. Just breathe, stop, and come at things. There's going to be things that don't go well. There's going to be things that maybe turn out not the greatest. We just accept it, learn from it, and then we move on. Card number 8, resisting the relapse. What aligned action can we take to consistently move forward and not get frustrated and fall backwards? What are we ready to let go of in order to move forward in all the ways that we desire? When we knowingly hang on to bits of those memories and parts of that outer shell, we hang on to the possibility of relapsing back into our false self. That shell becomes like a security blanket. It's easy to go back to what's comfortable, and it's way harder to go into something new. But the more we live as our authentic self, the more it begins to feel familiar, it begins to feel comfortable, and it becomes much more easier to do. So we have card number 8, resisting the relapse. We have the 6 of Cups, living life in the moment, just taking time to breathe. This card can also represent extending bits of gratitude. When we have the 6 of Cups, and we have another 6 in this reading here, but the 6 is about getting things together after a point of conflict, okay? And if we see here, there's children, there's family that's home. It's not just necessary about family, but it's appreciating all of the things that we do have, okay? Taking time just to enjoy those simpler moments in life, not getting ourselves all upset about what's this or what's that, just being in the moment, being present, having a little bit of gratitude, right? Realizing that we don't have to outperform, do things over and over again, that we can actually learn to enjoy ourselves in the moment. Maybe we have very many, nice things around us. Maybe our life is actually better than what we anticipate. But until we can sit back at ourselves and until we can get off this perpetual wheel of having to do things over and over again, we don't really recognize what we have in front of us. We wake up every day thinking we have to do more, be more, have more, and more, do it over and over again, right? Because we've built up this tough outer exterior that we've had to be so tough, so protected, be able to withstand anything. We can do anything. We can go through anything. We're just so strong, right? That we fooled ourselves into this false sense of security because we're chasing something that may not even be ours, right? Maybe this level of attainment isn't yours. And we've been going through the tarot, why was this shell necessary, right? Maybe we're trying to live up to something or achieve something that isn't even ours to begin with. I'm the Queen of Swords. I'm not the Queen of Pentacles. My goals in life are much different. We're chasing something and putting our energy into something that may not even be ours to begin with. When we talk about facing our fears and having that fear of abandonment or people walking away from us, maybe some of these people aren't even worth having in our life. If we have to truly fear people leaving us or a job firing us or something, a friend turning their back on us because we're not absolutely perfect, maybe there's a little bit of trauma and damage in that relationship that we need to examine just a little bit deeper, okay? And when we're looking to break that outer shell, it's just finding peace at the very foundation of our life, finding that core stability, building those steps upward one by one, letting all those big images go and just starting back at a very core, very rudimentary level. Because as we see our authentic self emerging, we're so tired, we're so beaten, we're so completely overwhelmed that we genuinely don't know who we are. We have to be willing to slow down, take a breath, get into meditation, do some journaling, do some yoga, reconnect, ask our higher power, our higher self, who am I at a core level? It's been so long since I've connected with myself, I don't really know who I am anymore. And we begin to journal, we explore, and we look for those little hidden clues within us. As we talk about living the life, right? What is one way we can begin to show up more authentically? We don't have to win every war. We don't have to dismantle every single enemy that we come across. We can have an argument, we can agree to disagree, and we can move on. We don't even necessarily have to win. We don't have to overbear, like be that Hulk coming out of our shell and just take out the whole entire town. We can relax a little bit and understand it's okay if we don't do everything perfect or win every war that we face. And we talk about resisting the relapse and just being in the moment. Taking life second by second, appreciating the simple things in life, taking ourselves way back, easing ourselves way off of all of these thoughts and feelings that we've created for ourselves, right? And this is something that so many of us struggle with. Like I said, I go through this myself, and it isn't going to be something that's going to be done in a day. This is something that you're going to work at for the rest of your life, no matter your age. You could be 20 or 80. But because that damage is so deep and it's so profound and we didn't get here overnight, we're not going to transform overnight either. And that's why I created this business, because we need like a multi-pronged approach to attack this trauma and drama and to release it from our mind, body, and spirit. To conclude our reading, I have a little message from our inner goddess. Today, I'm drawing a card from the Magical Times deck. This is from Jody Bergsma. It's a little bit of an older deck. It's just got beautiful imagery on it. It's super light and airy, and I thought it'd be a great way to end this reading. I talk so much, I get so dry. So let's just give a light fluff here. One of our cards were up right here. Okay, so I'm going to draw a card right from the top, and we have sacred space. Look at this beautiful imagery. Isn't that artwork so gorgeous? I just love her cards. So our message is, take time for the dreamer in you. Find your power in stillness. In your sacred space is the peace that you seek. So our message here today is maybe finding a place within your home that you can call your sacred space. I'm in my office here in my home. My husband uses our 4th bedroom as his personal office, and we each have a space that we can go to do our work, but also to do the work on ourselves, okay? You maybe want to find a place within your home that you can do meditation. You can maybe practice yoga. You can do some breath work, maybe some journaling, and just have a place where you don't feel like you're on display, right? Because transformation isn't a team sport. It's not something that people should be viewing us doing. We want to find some place within our realm that we can have some privacy and some safety to begin to break these things down as we continue our journey of reclaiming our authentic self. All right, everyone, thank you very much for joining me. I truly hope that you found this reading beneficial. And like I said, I know this is a group reading environment, but I hope that you found some seeds of wisdom in here that maybe you can relate to yourself. And maybe you're not someone that's on that perpetual treadmill of having to start over and do things over and over again, but maybe you can begin to recognize other cycles or patterns in your life, right? And we just follow the steps through what I said in this reading and just apply it to yourself and how you can begin to break your own outer shell as we reclaim our authentic selves. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. I truly appreciate your time, and I hope that you have a blessed day. Please don't forget to like this video, and if you haven't subscribed, I sincerely invite you to do so. This is still a new channel, and I have lots more things to share with you as I'm looking forward to do so. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Brightest blessings and namaste, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone, and thank you.